Hi everybody and welcome. It's Jared with Day Traders FX. Lovely to be with you today. Today's video is about using TradingView. We've been using TradingView in the trading group for quite some time now, at least the last solid year. I've had it for the last couple of years and it has been such a great platform. Now we know that most of us use MetaTrader for trading Forex. MetaTrader is a great platform. It does a lot of things. But as far as charting goes, I think TradingView has it beat by just a little bit. So what I want to talk about and show you is some of the ins and outs of TradingView and how you can get set up with it and get a pretty sweet little discount with using its services as well. Okay, so when you click on the link below this video, it's going to take you to this page right here. And this is going to show you kind of the pricing plans that you can set up on TradingView. If you want to just create a free account, you can do that. You can join for free. Set up that account by clicking on Join for Free or Free Account. One of these two will get you set up there. That will give you some pretty limited access to indicators. You'll be limited to about 3 indicators on your charts. You'll be limited to about 2 chart alarms. And I believe you can only save 1 chart layout. So it works, and the data is real time, and that's fine, but you do have some pretty big limitations as far as what indicators you can use on your charts and what how many chart layouts and how many chart alarms you can have. So when you go to this page, my recommendation, if you feel like spending a little bit more money, the Pro version, Pro Plus, excuse me, is a pretty good option, but most of us are going to be just fine with the Pro version. You can see the Pro version. It's $10 a month when you do a 2-year contract. Not a contract, but when you pay in advance 2 years. So that means that you're paying about 2 years worth at about $10 a month, so about $240. However, when you do that and when you use this link, we can get you a pretty decent discount, sometimes along the lines of 50%. It kind of depends on what kind of additional promotions they have, but if you use the link, get set up with a 2-year deal, you'll get at least a 25 to 30% discount, and in certain cases a little bit more. So you pay a good little bit less than that sticker price there. So it is a pretty great deal. You can see with the Pro Plus version, again, on a longer contract, you save some pretty good money. You can definitely do month to month, by the way. It's about $15 a month on month to month, and then on that 2-year contract, you save a good little bit. You can see that chart layouts on the Pro and so on. You get a few chart layouts. Server side alerts. This is definitely something we want to keep an eye on. 10 alerts on the Pro version. And then, pretty much unlimited indicators and templates and all of that good stuff. So that is super good. The Pro Plus basically does all the same stuff. It just gives you a few more things. It's a little bit more money. You get quite a few more chart alarms. Most people, if you manage your chart alarms well and you don't have chart alarms on charts that you don't care about, that you're not watching, 10 is actually plenty. I usually don't go over 10 myself, and I have alarm set every day. I'm always right at 10, 8 or 9 or 10, but that seems to work pretty well. So just a little quick heads up on all of that. But what I would recommend is come to this link, get started with a 30-day free trial on just the Pro version. You can cancel that at the end of 30 days. It'll give you the option to bill monthly. It'll give you the option to pay 1 or 2 years in advance, and you'll see that discount that's involved there and so on. So you can really save some good money on this one. So again, the Pro version is a pretty good option. Okay, so having said that, let's go down to my TradingView and how it's set up and some of the basic buttons that we're going to use here. You'll see all the features and all the details around. I've got some trend lines drawn and so on. There are a lot of buttons here. There's a lot of details, but it's actually a pretty simple and easy to use platform. Number one, you can see everything on this side, right? If I click on this tiny little arrow right there, it just collapses all of that, and I've got basically full screen charts. If I want to bring that out, I can just click right on that arrow once again, and it brings all of these side details out. You can see the price, you can see the feed that you're using, you can see the spread and some of those details. These are going to give you options for different things. You've got chat, you can see what other traders are chatting about. There's private message, there are trade ideas, there's a whole bunch of great stuff there. Calendars, all kinds of details. The things that I probably use the most are the watch list, I have a watch list where I just basically have all the currencies on here so that I don't have to constantly type in over here. I just put them in here, and it's pretty easy to just click and get to the next currency. And so if we go back to that Aussie New Zealand we were just on, I just click and I'm right back to that pair. So it's really easy to create a watch list. You can see that when I hover my mouse over any one of these, I can just get rid of that currency or get rid of whatever's on the watch list by hitting that red X delete button. Or under symbol, I can type in anything I want here as well. Euro, USD, and it'll bring up all of those, and I just click on whichever one I want and it'll add it to my watch list. Now, I will talk about why there are multiple Euro USDs and why there are multiple currency feeds there, and we'll discuss that. And then you've got alerts. Here's my alerts right here, my chart alarms. You can set these up, and that's right under that little alerts button, and I'll talk a little bit more about how those work as well. So basic buttons, really the only two that I use are my alerts button and my watch list over here. I don't use the chat too much, but you can. The public chat is great. Calendars and all those details are good, and you can use those at your will. Whichever features you like on there, feel free to jump in and dive in, but definitely these two are the most used for me on that side. As we're moving on over here, you can see that of course you can type in any currency pair. You can also type in any stocks. If you're looking at a stock or you want to look at the S&P or something, you can just click over there, SPY, SPX, anything you want to look at. You'll get a little bit of a delayed feed on that, but you can see, what the S&P is doing. You want to look at a stock, you can look at Google, say, for example. Type that in. You can have a look at all that. That's right there. Everything is looking good. But since we are currency traders, we do like to focus on the currencies. So again, coming back to these guys right here, you can see that there are several buttons up here. With all of these buttons, it can be a little bit overwhelming again. So here are the buttons for your time frames. You can just click right on that 1 day, and it's going to bring up all these time frames. We spend a lot of time on the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, the 1-hour chart, the 15-minute chart. You can just click on any one of those, and that's going to take you to your time frame and give you a little bit of an idea of what it's looking like on various charts and various time frames. So time frame right there. You can switch your candlestick charts to these various kinds, bar charts or Ranko or any one of those. You can switch back and forth. Here's one of my kind of favorite features. If you're looking at something that tracks something else very nicely, like say Euro dollar and the dollar index, you can type in Euro USD, and there's that Euro USD chart. You can type in compare, and on this compare you can type in whatever you want to compare it to. So say in this case DXY, I can compare it to the DXY. Now if I go to Euro dollar daily chart with some DXY details, you can see that these guys run pretty much exactly opposite of each other. So every time there's a dip down, Euro dollar's going up, and vice versa. So this little compare chart is pretty cool. You can use it on stocks, you can use it on currencies, you can use it on anything. You find a currency that trades well with gold, for example. You can compare the currency in gold, like the Australian dollar, US dollar versus gold. And it's kind of an interesting chart to just kind of see some of the movements, counter movements or correlated movements on those different pairs there. To get rid of that comparison, just click on that little plus button and X out of that. So the compare button is pretty cool. The next one that we like to look at and use is the indicators button right there. If you click on the indicators button, you can type in basically any kind of indicator you can think of. Do you like stochastics? Type in stochastics and click on that down there at the bottom. Now, once that pops up, you're going to see, a lot of details and a lot of things happening there. So with stochastics, remember, you'll have this little plus button in the upper right-hand corner, and if you click on that, that will show all of your indicators that you have on your charts, as well as the ability to edit all of those indicators. Now, if we want to edit stochastics, you can see I need to click on that plus button. Got to click on that. But once I do, I have the option to edit my stochastic settings, for example, if I want to change that, slow that down, speed that up, do any of that. And I can also change the style. I want to get rid of that purple background maybe, change how these bars are shown. You can see you can make those thick bars. You can see that changing down there at the bottom. Make them kind of thin, those lines and bars and so on. And so that's how that will work. If I want to get rid of it, just exit out of it. So that is one way to go about it. Anytime you have any indicator, it will always show up. Let's go to this 1 hour chart so we can see the data a little bit better over here. It'll always show up right here. So any indicator that I add through the indicators tab, pivot points, we know we use pivot points a lot. Pivot point standard is kind of a common one. Anything that I add, I can just go and look at it over here, and it will have the parameters that I have set, and I can edit those by clicking on that format button next to anything, that little gear looking button next to anything. So if I say I want to look at my weekly pivot points, I just click right there, and here's all my details. Under inputs, it'll ask me, how I want these to show up: auto, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and so on. How many numbers, how many pivot points do I want to show in the past, the last 30, 40, 50, 60. Under style here, I can choose to have it show S1, R1, S2, R2, all the way on up. I can change the color of the pivot points. I can change the thickness of the pivot points, and that's going to be under style. All of your indicators are going to have that same kind of thing. So if I look at my 200 EMA that I have set right here, again, under style, I can select the color of my 200 EMA. I can also select the thickness of my 200 EMA, and any other details in there that I want to do. I can go over here, select the length, in this case 200 EMA. It's already set as a exponential, so you can see that right there, EMA 200 close. So all of our indicators, every time we set an indicator up, it's going to pop up in this upper corner here, and we're going to be able to access all of those details from right here. So that is how we get to the indicators, how we adjust them. Again, anything we want to delete, we can just click right on the X there and just delete those indicators right off the charts. Next thing, you can see that I'm scrolling in and scrolling out, right? In and out like that. If you have a mouse with a scrolling wheel on it, by rolling that wheel in and out, that will scroll in and out like that. That's one way to do it. If you have a Mac laptop, for example, the mouse feature, you can just rub your two fingers, forward and backwards on the mouse, and it will give you that scroll. You can go left to right, and it will go back and forth. So pretty nice little feature there. If you don't have any of those, if you go down to the bottom here, you can see that there are plus, minus, back and forward buttons. You can just click backward and forward, plus to scroll out, or excuse me, scroll in, and the minus to scroll out. Likewise, if you want to move this chart around, you can just put your cursor over this price column right here and just scroll that up and down. And when you do that, it also gives you the feature to move your chart up and down. To get everything back to normal, you can just double click on this little price column right here. 1, 2, and we're back. Okay, to get over to the indicators here are a couple of features. You can see that I have a kind of a indicator button here that I have created. These are the most common ones I use: text, trend line, horizontal ray, arrow, my eraser, crosshairs, fib retracement, and my price distance indicator measuring tool. You can create one of these by going to your buttons over here. These are your trend lines, and you see there's a little tiny arrow right there. If you click on that, it's going to give you all the different kind of trend lines you can use. Channels, trend lines, and so on. Any ones that you want to use, like if I use this angled trend, or excuse me, this trend angle right here, I just click on that star, and it adds it to my little button right there. It added it right there. If I want to get rid of that, I just unstar it right here, and it's gone. And this you can just kind of drag all over the place, but you don't have to make one of these. But if you find that you use some of the indicators, fib retracements, for example, are a big one, I just click on the star, and it starts to add that together onto my existing little bar right here. So you've got your trend lines, you've got some other different indicators here, the pitchfork and some fib indicators and so on. You've got your drawing tool right here. This is our brush, and if we click on this, it gives us the ability to draw on our charts. I can just hit that delete button and it's gone. We also have in here boxes. You can draw boxes and different kinds of shapes to kind of illustrate certain things you might be looking at. Remember that on TradingView, anytime you put a trend line, anytime you put any kind of shape, anything on here, when you click on that, like this, you'll notice that I have mine moved all the way to the bottom, but a box like this will always pop up. And in this box, you can edit the colors, you can edit the thickness, you can edit a whole bunch of things, you can duplicate it, and likewise you can just delete it. So when I click on that box right there and it highlights it, I can just delete it like that. So that is all part of the button situation over here. Your text, of course, I use text quite a bit. This is quite a great feature to keep an eye on. So text is super important. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, I can just highlight it, click on the garbage can to delete it, or I can just hit the delete button on my keyboard. And along the lines, all along down here, you've got different kinds of indicators. You can measure your date range, your price range, your date and price. You can just see all of these different measurements that you have in here, and they're pretty excellent. You can also put symbols on your charts and all these different kinds of things, emojis, whatever else you can think of. So that's there as well. One feature that I can't remember if this starts out like this or if we have to add this or take it off, but if you're drawing a trend line, right now if I just click trend line and I draw that trend line like that, then it's there and it's good to go. If I keep this drawing mode on and I draw a trend line, it's going to go like this. Trend line, trend line, trend line, and trend line, right? And I actually don't like that so much, so I go stay out of drawing mode. And this is a good opportunity to use my eraser and just click on that and that and that and that, and that's gone. So some good little tools there, some good features and functions. A couple of things to keep an eye on. Remember, when you draw a trend line or anything, click on that and it's going to pull this up. I can change the color of my trend line, the thickness of my trend line. I can add an alert to my trend line by clicking on, I'll go back to that for just a second, by clicking on that little add alert, that alarm clock with a plus symbol on it. I click on that and it's gonna have all these default features in here for me, and they will give me the ability to draw a trend line and make this an activated area that will alert me when the market reaches or touches this point. So this is a great little feature. I use this quite a bit, and in fact, so I don't have to be at the charts all the time, the trend line stuff is super duper important for me. What I do with these alerts and these trend lines is once I set an alert, I can go over here and look at my alerts. You can see that if I pull that up, if I pull up my my edit button, it's going to show the message that I'm looking for here. Dollar Swiss franc, double bottom, look for buying. And that is going to come to me as a text message. It'll come right to my phone and it's just going to send me an alert and say, double bottom, look for buying. And I can know that I either can pop up my charts real quick, or maybe I have a pending order or something already there, which is super helpful. So again, alerts are a really, really big deal. We want to make sure that we're using those to kind of the fullest of our ability. So keep an eye on the chart alarms and the alerts here. This will be very helpful and very useful. Now, a quick little note on how to set up the alerts and how to get that. Again, these alerts are only available in plenty on paid versions. The free version, you get 2 of these. On paid versions, on the Pro, you get 10. Pro Plus, you get 30, and so on. Again, 10 is usually good for most, and it really gives you enough coverage of a lot of these charts. Now, to set up those alerts, you just go right over here to your area and go to Profile Settings. And you'll see in this Profile Settings area, here is what it looks like. As you can see, I've grayed out my phone numbers, but you just put in your phone number there, and you put in your SMS email number here. Now, the phone number, I believe they've just changed it, so they say the phone number is only able to be used directly with some of the premium versions, but the Pro, you just find out what your full phone number is with your cell phone carrier, and it comes as like an SMS email. So it still comes as a text message to your phone. It's just a little tiny bit of a different format. So you have to put in your phone number at your phoneprovider.com or .net. The easiest way to do that is when you're over here, just click on email address, and that's going to pull this little list up, and you can go and search through US and Canadian carriers. I'm not sure what the deal is with international, but I think there is a feature for that as well. Remember, you can also have these alerts sent as an email, which will come to your phone if you're out of one of these, if you're not able to find your carrier on here. But you can just find it. Say you're with, for example, T-Mobile. You can say, here is my phone number, 12345678910 at tmomail.net. Or if you're with Verizon, say, for example, your 10-digit phone number at vtext.com, and so on. And they do have some international carriers on here, so you're still good in that department. They have quite a sprawling list of carriers. If you find that yours isn't on here, remember you can just use the email version as well. You can have these alerts sent as just an email. So those are things to keep an eye on. We love TradingView. We love the alerts. We love all the features that come here. And how it functions and how we use it. Let's spend just a moment here just reviewing why, when we pull up Euro USD, for example, there's Euro USD, IDC, Forex, there's Forex, FXCM, Oanda, Forex.com, and so on. These are just all the different feeds. Now, some of these feeds will be slightly different. For example, Oanda is not showing a gap that the euro dollar had over the weekend a couple weeks ago, whereas FXCM and IDC are. But most of the time, these are all pretty much the exact same. So if you have a broker in specific that you're using, FXCM, Oanda, Forex.com, you can kind of go with those feeds. I tend to use Oanda, and I don't even use Oanda as a broker, but I find that their feed is pretty steady, pretty consistent, so I use that one the most. So that's what those different feeds are. But that is how these charts look. That's how this whole thing is going to work and function. Hopefully this was a helpful tutorial and you have a little bit of a better feel of how TradingView works. Now, one last little thing or two that I want to cover. If you want to have multiple charts, which again comes with the paid version, you want to make sure that you use these little buttons up here. So for example, whatever this chart is, right? If you set up some indicators, you add a couple of moving averages, you customize them, you can go right here and save as, or just save chart layout, or rename. That will kind of give you all these options on this chart layout. You can see my chart layout is Day Traders FX. If I wanted to rename this, I could just type in something else there. Or if this was just unnamed, you could type in save as or rename. If you want to create multiple chart layouts, then you just click on this same little button right here and you go to New. And under New, it's going to do, as you can see, pull up a completely blank chart that has no indicators on it. There's just volume on here and nothing else. So if I wanted to have multiple chart layouts, which I do, so you can see that my chart layouts here look like this. Trade Finder, this is a specific trade setup that we use as a different chart layout, so I can just click on that. And you can see it looks like this right here. And so here I've got a couple of different indicators and a couple of different things that are different from my other chart. And so to be able to just flip back and forth, it's really easy to just use these multiple chart layouts. So I think that that is a super great feature, something that many of you will want and need and use. So once again, you can just go to New and post that. Once you have your chart layouts, if you have multiple saved, you can just go to this button right here and you can click on whichever one you want to be on. Whether that's, in my case, I'm usually on the Day Traders FX chart layout. And so I can just click right there and it'll pull it right back up again. And so here we go. And everything is saved right there. So you've got chart layouts right here. You've got your watch list right here. You've got your alerts right here. Indicators are all up here. Time frame, currency pair / stock. Trend lines, drawing tools, text, your measuring tools right here for date and time or just price range or date range. A lot of great indicators are in here. And remember, once you pull up any of those indicators, any single one of them, this guy right here, if I want to change the color of that, remember my little edit box that's going to pop up here, I can change the color, I can duplicate it, I can do a whole bunch of different things, or I can just ultimately delete it. So great little tool, keep an eye on those. But hopefully you have a little bit of a better feel of how TradingView works. It's a really great program with a lot of really great features on here. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, you can click on the link below and have a get a free trial to the trade platform, to the TradingView charts. At the end of 30 days, you can choose to not continue, or you can choose to get one of the different plans, whether you do some monthly billing or annual or 2-year billing. Any one of those are great options. It's a platform that I love, I use to death, and I think it is super, super handy for Forex trading. So hopefully this was helpful. Good luck. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. You can reach us at support@daytradersfx.com. You can leave a comment below on this page. You can reply to the email, any one of the above, and we'll get you taken care of. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Good luck, and I hope you like TradingView.